by the drug lords. And, you know, it's the corruption with the police who are part of that.
And the drug war did it.
Safe. It is, yeah.
I mean, we know the drug culture is bad. I'm not endorsing it. But at the top, they run the drug war so they can launder the money. And then it creates a criminal culture. It's just, and I'm not saying legalization of hard drugs is good either, but it's better than prohibition.
Well, it's where the money is. And so the power will always go where the money is. And if they can make it illegal so that they can make more money off of it, then, you know, that's...
Oh, yeah, no. I've been involved in documentaries where the drug lords admit...
Yeah, you follow the money.
That they want it illegal. I mean, the prison companies lobby to keep it illegal.
So what do you think? What do you make of George Soros spending $80 million to legalize marijuana now?
That's one of the only good things he's ever done, and that's well, let me just finish. That's on the surface. That's a PR stunt, total PR stunt. To look like but the real reason is they're not really decriminalizing it. You waive your rights in these states like Michigan and Colorado and California and get put on a list, and now they come to your house whenever they want. Now they take your kids. It's a trap to institutionalized medical marijuana users and is a way with this new super weed to basically turn people into zombies.
That's the thing. That's what I think is going on, because George Soros himself has said that he doesn't approve of pot smoking. He doesn't want his family smoking pot. He himself doesn't smoke pot, but he wants you and your family smoking pot, because the 8 hours a day, they want you cleaning up the roads and driving the buses and keeping the system going. But in your off time, they want you either playing World of Warcraft like a zombie. Or
no, I agree, but you don't throw somebody in. You don't throw somebody in prison for it, though.
Yeah, well, it's been obviously that's been a very powerful way to do asset forfeiture and all sorts.
Look, here's the deal. Here's the deal. If people want to drink Drano and kill themselves,
I'm with you. I'm a libertarian. I totally believe that you should have the.
Let me tell you, I've seen the new medical marijuana wreck people. I mean, I've known beautiful, smart women who are like wreck zombies now. I've known really smart businessmen who are zombies now.
Well, here's the thing. What does marijuana do? It mellows you out. It makes you mellow. There's a reason why we have this sort of stereotype of the laid-back pothead, because they're not the kind of people who are going to take a picket sign and go and actually make some change. They're not the kind of people who are going to... I mean, some of them do, don't get me wrong, but... As a whole, if you took the entire American population and had them all smoking pot every night, it would be like Soma from Brave New World. It just mellows people.
Well, here's the deal. They're coming out.
Right back.
I've confirmed, this is a big story we're working on. They've already got the GMO strains that are being privately done in labs.
Yeah, that's going to be scary.
This is not marijuana. This is not marijuana.
The genome of it, absolutely. And the second piece of that is all the video games that are so incredibly addictive. They've actually taken psychological insights that have been developed over decades and incorporated them of addiction.
Oh, yeah, who's that expert lady on you have? I want to tell the guys her name. I want to get her on the one about the addiction.
I've had a couple on talking about it.
I know so many women who are leaving their husbands because they just want to play video games all day.
Yeah, and
they'll always say, you know, like somebody you know that's a video game head, they'll go, hey, it's my life. Not a problem with it. And I'm like, hey, I'm just telling you it was developed by DARPA to literally turn you into a zombie. You know, so, okay.
Well, and what happens is that, you know, you look at all the mass shooters, and they were all heavy video game players, because you're developing a skill. And when you develop a skill, I mean, if I were taking guitar lessons, I'd want to get up on a stage and play guitar. So if I'm playing these games all day long and learning how to kill, at some point, that's a skill you've developed, and there's a certain percentage of people that go, why am I just wasting my time practicing this skill here when I can go out and actually do it? And so
yeah, it's like Dad giving you a Playboy when you're 14.
Well, I don't know about that.
But you know, no, I'm joking. No, but the whole point is, I was talking about Joe Kennedy Sr.
Make me blush here.
Did that with us. It's a joke. It's a joke. The point is that they're basically, well, they had studies that proved that the DARE program, we're going to skip this network break and do one more segment. They had you know, studies out there that death education in schools cause more suicide. Like, don't commit suicide. Here's how to do it. 2020 even admitted a doubling and tripling of suicide. The DARE program taught kids how to use drugs.
Yeah, no, it's the focus on this stuff. And how many ways can they get us to zone out? They don't care if you're angry. They don't care if you know. They care if you do something about it. That's really the key. And so people need to understand you can be as informed as you want, but if you're sitting around, you know, like a stoner talking to your buddies over, you know, over a beer, instead of actually signing petitions and making changes and going out there.
Well, that's what I tell my crew. They're incredibly active. They do a great job, but we can all do better, myself included. I'll hear these great discussions of story ideas and things that are going on in the coffee room or but 90% of the time it's between them and it never goes anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, The universe is out there. We got to get this going outside of here. We got to have a public discussion about this and then put it into action.
Yeah, that's why I'm not a big fan of pot smoking. I think it should be legal because I'm a libertarian, and I don't think the government should use guns and tanks to tell you what to do. But as a personal choice, it's probably not the best one if you want to actually have an impact on the world.
But see, it's a cult, too. Because then I've been in all these films about decriminalization and stuff, but then people go, man, why don't you think it's a good culture then?
$80 million that George Soros spent to fund the grassroots organizations to build up this kind of motion around it, this kind of...
By the way, let's talk about who he is. He's really a Rothschild front on record. That's even come out in the British news. The Rothschilds sued over it, lost the lawsuit. And the judge said, wow, this lawsuit basically proves you're like evil masterminds. And Soros is their front man. A Nazi collaborator they hired for bizarre reasons to run things. He's given DARPA intel. Everything he does is key. Arab Spring, he's behind the open borders right now to collapse things. He brags he's behind the Ukraine takeover. I mean, this guy is literally like a James Bond supervillain. So you're right. Why is he behind legalizing the weed?
$80 million. Think about how much money that is. What could you do with $80 million?
Well, I'll tell you, because
make the country a better place.
No. They promote it, make it acceptable to get more people on it, make it more available. So I was for decriminalization. Now I realize with their HUMET super science systems, they went above that and are making it institutional with weapons-grade pot to then make it acceptable, put it in stores everywhere, and literally zombo everybody.
Zombify the whole country. And have us, once again, it's back to what I was saying earlier, it's the get you to embrace your chains. If they said, hey, everybody, you're going to have to take a Soma pill after you get off work that's going to zone you out for 6-7 hours a night so you don't mess with us, we'd be up in arms. But if they say, hey, we're going to do what you want. We're going to, don't throw me in the briar patch. We're going to give you what you want reluctantly, but we'll give it to you and we'll let you smoke pot all night long. How do we win with that? How do we?
And again, that doesn't mean there aren't people like George Washington. They called it toothache weed or stomach ache weed because most of it was hemp. They called that like shale or rope hemp, but they had the toothache hemp and call it weed. And the apothecaries would say, for your stomach, take this. For your tooth hurting, smoke this. So, but that was probably 50 times not as strong.
Exactly. And when you GMO modify this stuff, there's no telling what they could do to it. I mean, you could smoke this stuff and never come back. I don't know. I don't know what's coming.
Well, see, that's why they're promoting it now. And so we have to understand the old police state model's bad, but the new model's bad too. And see, people think, no, it's one or the other. Alex, why are you against marijuana? You police state thug. What is your problem? I'm like, I'm not for Putin and I'm not for Obama. No, you're for Putin or you're for Obama. You've got to choose a side. No. You've got to see all of it.
Dichotomies.
It's artificial.
It's like the Republican or Democrat. And the reality is neither side is your friend. They're both going to take away your freedoms.
Exactly.
There is no left and right. There's just freedom and control. And those guys are on the control side. So these artificial, I mean, think about Republican, Democrat. Who came up with the idea that it is okay to kill a baby, but not okay to go to war?
Well, listen, here's an example.
That it's okay to go to war, but you can't kill a baby. I mean, it's not okay to kill, period.
Exactly.
I'm not up for that.
Well, it's not good to murder in cold blood. It's good to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Expanding on that, and then we'll take a few final calls. I'm sorry, folks. This is an interesting conversation. I'm literally like police that they have go smoke marijuana to see what it's really like so they can recognize it. I will smoke it maybe once a year. And it's also varied. Sometimes I've smoked medical-grade marijuana that actually hypes you up and you can really think well, but only a few times. Almost all of what's out there. Because I'll be at a park and 20-year-olds are smoking pot, and I'll say, let me have a hit off that, just randomly once a year. I've smoked pot that teenagers are smoking on the street and literally can't think a day later off one hit. That's how strong this stuff is. And I mean hating it. Hating it the next day that I can't think. So, I mean, it's powerful.
So you take your population and you make sure that 9 to 5, they sweep the roads. Make sure that 9 to 5, they do the basic things to keep a nice world for the pond scum to live in. But then you want them knocked out. You want them out of the game for the rest of the time. So I don't know. Your mileage may vary. I say everybody do your own thing. Not really my business, but take a look at the people you know who are heavy pot smokers, and chances are pretty good that they're not out there making social change in the world.
Well, some people can smoke a little bit of it who are high-strung from what I've read and talked to folks, and they're moderate about it. It's not that bad. You know, it's like people that have a few glasses of wine.
It's like a video game. If you're playing World of Warcraft 16 hours a day for 7 days a week, then you're going to lose your marriage, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose everything, and you're going to be living in your mother's basement, you know, weighing 300 pounds. But if you can play a video game a couple hours a week, it's not a big deal.
Hey, listen, in my house, I have one of those master consoles that costs a couple $1,000. There's like 30 old-fashioned video games on it. And maybe when friends come over once a month, we'll go up for 30 minutes and just as a nostalgia, you know, it's more of a novelty.
Like you have time to play video games, Alex. Seriously.
Well, it's good to have a distraction sometimes, yeah.
Absolutely. And we all need
play Missile Command, play Pac-Man.
But don't take a break by shooting heroin. Don't take a break with things that we know are addictive, that are specifically developed to be maximally addictive. They took research from looking at gamblers in Vegas, which they used to make things more addictive to you, and they incorporated all of those things into these video games.
And into fast food? And people that are the chemicals, people that are enslaved to this, literally will think we're telling them what to do. Hey, I eat too much. You know, there's been times when I've drank too much, whatever. I mean, we all need to help each other.
But know when you're being manipulated into thinking that you're getting something wonderful, thinking that you're getting more freedom, like the cell phone, and instead be getting less freedom. Because it's no longer the guns and tanks pointed at you, forcing you to do these things. Now they get you to think that it was your idea in the first place.
I lost my cell phone 3 days ago. And I got to tell you, I'm not missing it. I got to go get it turned off or something, but I got a backup over there. But, I mean, I know it's an enemy weapon, a Trojan horse given to me. I use it for YouTube videos and things, but I know.
It's just like the video games. Use it in moderation. Use it.
Well, I only use it because it's a powerful weapon, and I literally, when I want to have a private conversation, it goes out of the room. Let's go to Chris. Chris in Nevada, I apologize. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Oh, not a problem, Alex. What a fantastic pleasure to be on with two of the top truth advocates on GCN Live, broadcasting truth in the empire of lies.
Wow, that guy needs to do a liner for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, well, it is a distinct pleasure. You know, Catherine, you being from Harvard, you probably are familiar with the Joseph Goebbels and Edwin Bernays tell a lie often enough, and they'll begin to believe it's the truth.
Yes.
It works. And even if you don't believe it, tell people that everybody else believes it. And then you'll think that resistance is futile and there's no point fighting back, which is why the Defense Department is involved in that kind of research to make sure that they can manipulate the internet so you believe you're alone. It's all part of the...
But I'll tell you, I've seen PSYOP meetings on C-SPAN where they have the PSYOPs division and they're on television saying they're going to stop lying to us. And everybody looked completely depressed and freaked out because that was the public rollout.
Lying to us.
It was the, no, it was the public rollout of total lying. Them saying we're going to be in your neighborhood now. We promise to stop lying. It was, we admit that you don't trust us. Now you can trust us just so you lower your shield and they can stab you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, anytime their lips are moving, I'm suspicious.
Well, God bless you, sir. I'm going to try to jam in one more. Do you have anything else, Chris?
Well, I did want to say that Stalin always says that the best way to control the opposition is to be the opposition. And I think that's what precisely we're seeing with this Ukraine thing and also with the over-the-border thing with the organizer-in-chief.
Absolutely. They create the crisis, offer the solution. Great points. Let's go ahead and talk to Clinton, Michigan. Go ahead. Thanks for calling.
Hey, thanks, Alex, for having me.
You bet, brother.
I just wanted to say, you know, I have a smartphone, I have a computer and stuff, but I look at all this stuff out there, and it scares me, the new technology, all the stuff they can do. And I'm a store manager for a convenience store, and I got all these people coming in, and you wouldn't believe how many people on a daily basis, as they're stumbling around for their credit cards or their keys, they're like, man, I wish I just had a barcode on my arm that I could just scan. And
I know. That's something, I hear it in line all the time now, and I meant to do a video about it. I always want to catch it on video, you know, with my little smart devil that I'm carrying, but never can, where it's like, I just wish I had a chip. I just wish I had something in me. I just don't want to do anything. And, you know, don't worry, the big Omni computer will run your whole life. Well, so you can just wander around the store.
Even the Bible says that people are going to, when the beast comes, they're going to say, oh, how fabulous. This is amazing.
They'll be putting brain chips in people at the church.
They'll be going for this. They'll be seeking it out. It's not going to come in with guns and tanks. They will, believe me, they will come in with guns and tanks for those of us who resist it. But that's going to be a very, very small margin.
We're in the final phase. Well, no, I mean, Kurzweil and all of them have said, you're like a bug. We'll just sit on you.
Yeah.
Like you know, at first you'll be in reservations for not taking the chips, and then we're going to come into those reservations, those ghettos. Sir, anything else about hearing folks say they want a barcode?
I just want to say, too, that my wife was battling with maybe having possible breast cancer. She had a tumor, and she, too, lost her insurance.
Her Obamacare? I'm sorry about the time. Sorry to the others.
Empire's
God
on
bless
the
you
run.
all. Back this Sunday,
Alex
4 to 6
Jones and
p.m.
the GCN
Gatherings coming up
Radio
30 minutes
Network.
at GCNlive.com.